Hey everybody, it's Charlene. Today I'm going to be making this beautiful card using some products from Honeybee Stamps. It's a little bit different in terms of colors, so I hope you guys like it. I'm going to start here with the vintage Flora background stamp. I've used this in a previous video. It is a beautiful background stamp, really loving it. And I'm going to come in here with some dark, almost navy blue. So I'm going to make sure and get the entire stamp covered. And because this is a red rubber stamp, it's going to give you a really beautiful, fine, detailed image. This is great for backgrounds. This also would be a really fun stamp to do some emboss resist with. So you could stamp it and then heat emboss and ink blend over the top. Lots of different options. I'm just going to make sure to get some real good pressure over the entire stamp so that way I can make sure it all transfers over onto my piece of cardstock. It's an A2 sized piece of cardstock, and that is going to be my entire card background. So you can see here when I pull up the stamp what a beautiful image that creates. Next here I've got a mini postcard die, and I'm going to cut this out 3 times from white cardstock, and we're going to dress these up a little bit. We're going to do that using the Postmarked 6x6 stamp set as well as the coordinating dies, and this is another set that I've used in a previous video, so be sure to check that out. I'm using the bird cage, the morning glory, and then the little French countryside cottage, I think. That's kind of what it makes me think of. So I'm just going to make sure to rub those with my fingers since they're new stamps, get them a little bit conditioned to take the ink. And then I'm going to be stamping these in a dark red, a coral, and a peach color. So different colors to go with the blue, but I think in the end it worked out really well. So the bird cage is going to be in that deep like cranberry red, and then the little French cottage will be in the peach, and then the morning glory is going to be in the coral. Now the morning glory doesn't actually end up showing very much in the finished card, but at this point I wasn't sure how I was going to arrange the postcards on the card, so I wanted to just do them all, get them all ready so that I had them and could arrange them however I liked. So I'm coming in here with some gray ink, and I'm going to stamp this stamp. It looks like handwriting. The details of the writing aren't really important. Just the fact that there's some scripty writing there on the postcard is going to add a nice touch to this. Now the die does emboss little lines on there on the little postcard, so it could be kind of fun too if you wanted to handwrite messages on these. I think that would look really cute. I have some number 1 shader brushes here, Waffle Flower shader brushes. These are really, really great for shading around things. And I also have some number 2 shader brushes, which is what I'm using right now. And those are kind of flat. So I'm using them to go along the embossed line in the middle of the postcard. But with the number 1 brushes, I'm just tapping in my ink, tapping it off into the lid, and then going all the way around until I get the color that I like. Now, I do end up bringing the color completely over the left side on all 3 of these. I decided that I liked the look of having more color on the left-hand side of the postcard than on the right-hand side of the postcard. So you'll see that here in just a moment. But really easy to do. I like to hit the corners really good with the color, so that way there's some variation in the color all the way around whatever image I'm coloring. And I'm going to do the same thing with that navy blue. I'm going to come in around the edge of the background and really build up that color so we get a little bit of a blue halo. Now I've taken 3 of the small postage stamps from the Postmarked stamp set. I'm going to stamp these out in a light brown. And I actually decided that I wanted more of a brown gray. So this is something that you can do. You can restamp as long as you're using a stamp positioner and layer on another color. So I have my brown, and then on top of that, I'm going to layer on the gray, and it's going to give me a very nice gray brown when I'm finished. I'm going to hold this up close so that you can get a look at these postage stamps. They're actually really cute. There's a little bird and a flower and a key, and they just look really nice. cutting those out with the coordinating dies. And then I'm going to glue all 3 of the postage stamps directly to the postcards. I think this is just a fun little extra detail, having the die cut that you actually glue on. Now, I messed up here and somehow I didn't hit record. So you guys are not going to see me actually glue the postcards onto the card, but you can see there what I did. All I did was glue the 3 of them on there, and then I went ahead and trimmed off the excess from the edges and used my shader brushes again to come in and add a little bit of color where I had cut those off. Next, I'm coming in here with the Sweetheart Roses lovely layers. These are really pretty. And you can see here on the Honeybee Stamps website, you can download these layering guides. And they're super helpful. They show you exactly how to layer everything up. So I'm going to show you how I layered up the main rose in the center. You can also see here that the set comes with a beautiful vase that has some layers to it. I'm not going to use the vase today. I'm actually just going to use the floral pieces. So the way I like to do my layering is I start with the second to largest piece and work my way backwards like that. I put the glue on the next smallest piece and then I put it on top of the piece that is larger than that one. Hopefully that makes more sense here as you are watching this. And you probably noticed I'm doing this in all white, which is not how I traditionally do these. I usually ink blend or I do some type of mixed media on my pieces before I layer them. But because I had so much color going on with the bright pops on the postcards and that beautiful blue on the background, I thought it would look really elegant to just leave the die cuts in all white. I'm going to get my sentiment ready here, and so I'm using some of that navy blue ink again, and I'm going to create my own paper with it. I'm going to just let this piece dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I brought in my anti-static powder tool, going to make sure to hit that really nicely, and then I'm going to use some embossing ink here to stamp out a sentiment. This sentiment is from the Mailbox Memos stamp set. Lots of fun postage related type sentiments, special delivery, happy mail, all kinds of different ones. And so I'm going to heat emboss this with some bright white opaque powder and hit that with my heat gun there and then cut it out with the coordinating die. Now I just need to pop up my beautiful floral that I created with those Sweetheart Roses, and so I'm adding some foam squares on the back of the main piece, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that right over the center, kind of a little bit towards the right and down from the center. Now I am going to kind of hold my sentiment there with it so that I can get a good sense of where it needs to go, because I know where I want my sentiment to be, and so if I can line everything up as I push down that piece, it makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm adding my sentiment. Now I have not attached the largest rose yet because that is going to go right in the center, and I want to make sure that I get it in the exact right spot once it's on the card. And so I'm holding my sentiment there again, trying to decide, do I want it up or down? And I decided to go kind of in between there. Added a little bit more foam squares to my sentiment, so now I can go ahead and pop that up as well. And since I didn't add any foam squares to the bottom part of those Sweetheart Roses, I don't have to worry about adding any extra kinds of things behind the sentiment other than the same kind of thickness of foam squares that as I used before on the other areas. So pop that sentiment up there. And then there's also a few little leaves that are die cut that you can add on. So I waited till the end and just added a few of those here and there. Now I can add some glue to the back of it and glue it to my card base, and that is going to finish off this card. I hope you guys picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that I can continue bringing you more crafty content in the future. Until next time, happy crafting.